is working. How's the day so far? Enjoying the conference? Nice weather. At least from flying in from San Francisco, I like the snow here. How many of you here like have been patching applications? At least. Okay. What one quick question like around that? Like, did you any of you face recently, like in the last few months or a year now, like you had to patch something and you feel like now? Okay. You found like the source code does not exist for that app. You found like in a product there is an app and you find like, oh, the source code does not exist. Have you seen that happen? Okay, let me take like one step back. Like I think you guys might have faced like seen or heard like React to Shell end of last year. React to Shell. Okay, the Next.js vulnerability. I think last year when it hit like end of year, it was like a lot of web internet facing apps were like had RC basically. And when you're first looking at like the fraud, like internet facing applications, there was a lot of vulnerable, like kind of RC exposed apps. But when you took a look back, there were no code basically because they were deployed from app builders like Lovable, Replit, and like they were like not the code were not checked into them, and like they were built by marketing or like sales for some campaigns. And yeah, you had to take it down. There is no code exists for those, or you have to go back and find who deployed it and where is like if that app of this digital access and that code existed to patch it. So that was the like history behind like on what I'm talking about today. A little about me. I've been in security for last 15 years, learning AI security for last 3 years. Currently, I'm working at Cerebra Systems. We are we build AI chips, and like we are one of the fastest AI compute. Before that, I worked at Cohesity, like building like the large data stores. Before that, for a long time, I worked for Juniper Networks, like securing various types of networking gear from firewalls, switches, routers, core routers. And most of these three jobs, I was like the first hire kind of thing and built like the security from ground up. A lot of good stuff, but I did try to write book few times, failed. I do like the talks, security talks. They are easier, like kind of needs little like maybe a month focus to get it done. And I've been like I was here at Snowfrog for 2023. I'm back here this year, and I've done like some global WASP AppSec and like LastCon and some of the other like AppSec conferences. That's my LinkedIn. I'm open to connect there. Logistics, like I think yeah, this is like we can. I'll mostly like because of the larger room, I'll stop in the end for the questions, but feel free to stop in between. I think the slides are like should not take more than 30 to 40 minutes, so we can keep this lively. And what I'm talking all on my personal opinion, unless like I may be quoting some of the other reports that are like specific to those vendors. The slides you can find it here. The what I'm going to present. That's going to point to a GitHub repo, and it will have a slide. And I do have like I was planning to put in the demo app, but I could not get it done in time. But I'll be planning to put it maybe in a day or two. There was some last minute like DNS resolution like the resolvers problem I had, so I could not get it out. So I'm going to put that out maybe next week-ish. Okay. Before that, I think I think most of you have like been like using the AI to like build like code now. That's the kind of large landscape of how the AI coding is evolving. Like one are like we started with the ID Copilot, and like then there were agentic like Claude or like the Codex, and like there were like some of them like OSS, right? Like the open code and like all some of the well-known ones, like where you can aggregate your own AI like LLMs and use them to build. So, but there is one special category here that I'm going to talk today, and like kind of lovable Replit. These can build apps like majorly develop like cater towards like non-developers who can like build who need to know like just natural language to app basically. So that's what I'm going to focus today's talk on. I did talk on securing the other three in besides SF 2 months ago. I think when that talk should be available like soon in the YouTube. Let's take a little more deeper dive into the. Sorry about the white background. I didn't realize this is going to be this big screen. I would have used the darker background. Yeah, there are like various flavors of the app builders as well. Like lovables, where like they have full stack web development, and there are like the extreme case like towards the finance guys, where like they meant to be like just take your like spreadsheet and kind of move that to like kind of an interactive app. That's more riskier. Like there are other apps as well. And also like with this, like previously, like anything you build, any department builds the app, like thing they needed like kind of DevOps to like deploy. Now there is no DevOps or like huge PO needs to be cut to procure infrastructure or any kind of like cloud, nothing, right? You just need few dollars, or some of them allow you build like ship to free basically to the internet facing apps. So kind of like with these, like the the gates have been like kind of they're removed entirely. People can just ship to like prod immediately. This is a very like a happy path where like usually followed by developers. I want to take like say in AI how the AI is used right by developers. Like you take the prompt, then it goes through the pipeline of like various SaaS, dast, like your testing quality and all the gates are enforced, and they have been also part of like continuous checks as well, like in a mature environment, and then it gets deployed. But like it's a full compliance pipeline. You monitor, you like there's any issues, like security team get involved and kind of you patch. Riskier path currently been like used in the last few like last year or year and a half. So there are like app builders, like people put the prompt, they don't do any quality, just like hit a button, it gets like deployed to prod. So there are no pipelines. Like it can like what can happen, right? So like it can be like your brand is at risk, or like your data may leak, or like say in the day one they may have vulnerabilities, or they may catch two vulnerabilities like say 6 months down the line. So you may be like entirely blind. A good example here, right? I wanna take one. This is I just demo app I just built for this. So you take like this, like I put a prompt, build me a web app where I want to see like allow people to put in cute cat pics, right? The same things like your marketing team on like, oh, I want people to take like pics with my product and put it here. They want to build some marketing campaign and hit a button here like say deploy publish. This is what it looks like. It's a fully internet facing app. Right now it's like has a lovable app. I'm going to show like how this ends up in your org domain. So yeah, that's all the barrier. Like it just takes 10 minutes, like not even 10 minutes, just put in a prompt, like the app gonna build it and just hit publish, it's gonna done basically. No, like yeah, it's even for the primary versions, it's don't know to put even your credit card. That's an internet facing app there. Yeah, like why are these bad, right? Like this is a 2025 report from Escape. When they looked at like a large internet facing all these applications, like of that, like of the chunk they looked, like there were like credential leaks, there were like PII, there were like a lot of issues. And as I mentioned, like a lot of these were like vulnerable to react to shell, which was like RCE. The whole report can be found there. There's another report by Invicti. There are a lot of reports, similar ones. I picked two that came up like in the top. Similarly, like they looked at like 20,000 apps, and like there were like problems there. Just to summarize, like how does it look like in enterprise, right? Like say data exposure, secret sprawl, like brand risk. Then like if you have like compliance, where like say PII, or like if you have various like your data like strong DPAI, like you need like your data need to be within the approved environments, but it may not be with like because these databases will be running like random app builders and all those things. Your supply chain, because like they may not be reviewed, the application may not be reviewed, the packages may not be reviewed, or they may not be maintained for like the next few months. Yeah, even they have like ad hoc identity, maybe like not tied to your IDPs. It may be like entirely their own, or like OIDCs from random places. And as a security team for an enterprise, you will be responsible to make sure those like uh, are discovered and kind of secure. So like what are the like how we can discover these, right? Taking step back, first is like I am sure like many of you are aware, like SSPM, which came in existence for when the SaaS launched, like to discover like and maintain like posture of various SaaS applications. So the SSPM still can apply, like they did adopt to the new AI builders or like various AI deployments environments. And if you have a SSPM discovery module, and you can like discover who's in your like employees are signing up for these. But again, it's a catch-up game. Like there are these AI discoveries, like AI apps keep on popping every now and then, new ones. And like yeah, it'll be catch-up game, and like people still can sign up from their public, like not from their enterprise emails, or they may be signing up from like say random OIDC as well, which would not be under SSPM. Like say what happens, people, many of these kind of have a developer like interactions, like they go with like GitHub OIDCs. So if your developers have GitHub interactions, like they will not show up in the email, which the SSPM usually monitors. So people signing up from GitHub OIDC may be like end up in here, but your SSPM will miss it. So like SSPM is a good kind of to get these capture what's happening here, but it's not sufficient. It still has some blind spots. So like the next step would be to like uh, when it's out there, using like those apps running to like detect, are they like app deployed, are there in signatures, right? So as part of that, I took a look at like DNS is one, like where anything that ties back to your org has to have a DNS entry. Otherwise, like it can be lovable app, you can always, it's not tied to your org, right? So DNS is where it starts. Then like to like next is the certificate. So anything like your hosting has to have a certificate, so that can be used to detect some of the things. And then some of these fingerprints, when it's in an app, that can be like also used to detect, are these like wipe coded apps or not. Any questions till now? I think we are good on time. Okay, let's take a look like how the DNS can be used, right? Like passive DNS is like one of the, like for the larger enterprises where we have like thousands of subdomains, passive DNS can be one option where you can capture all your like what's happening in your DNS in the recursive resolvers to like monitor. But for a large, for a smaller or a medium enterprise, that may be too expensive, like and too like intensive to like get it. Like you can just use like say your Route 53 or a Cloudflare wherever your DNS resides to like monitor what's like happening at the DNS level. So we'll go a little more deeper into the each of them, and like say, and many times like um, these subdomains, right? Like say they, whenever there are like demo or like say a campaign or like say some kind of uh, business related, like manufacturing or like say, marketing or finance, those kind of things, like usually can be like there are filler words that can be used to easily detect these things from as a first detection. And like they usually are not your directly your product related, basically. So any DNS you detect should like you should follow those, like say not currently we, I think many of the enterprises currently monitor the DNS, but they don't follow through, like say where is the DNS resolving, right? Like with the app builders, like they kind of use the primary DNS subdomain, and then it gets use a CNAME to like point to a, like hosted somewhere else. So that's one of the primary signals that can like detect uh, like app like hosted on the app builder platform. So and also these usually use load TTL for the DNS records. That's majorly because like these are all like kind of they are optimized for like say a large scale deployments. They are not optimized for like say enterprise level apps. Like if your DevOps is building the DNS, they would like optimize for like performance of your app, where they don't want like your users to like continuously like their cache to expire DNS and continuously reach, right? So that adds like performance impact. So they would kind of keep the like say a longer DNS records, right? But say for these apps, they want to like migrate the application, so they want to keep like shorter TTL. That's one of the like large like say CNAME is like you can detect they are if they are hosted like by the name, and the TTL can be another good signal. A good example is like like CNAME I mentioned. Like it may be like your company is one of the subdomain. Use the CNAME to like it will like point to like a hosted on lovable app, or like Vercel or Emergent or Let Leafy. Like there are various similar like domains. Like some of them are app builders, some of them are like specifically built hosting platforms for these apps. So that can be like used to like detect these. A little digging into like say what can passive DNS and the DNS API can do, right? I'm not going to go deeper into the passive DNS side, but like the how to use the like APIs, DNS provider APIs like Cloudflare, Route 53. You can like these platforms provide you like APIs to fetch your current DNS records, like irregularly like fetch those records and like see like any new entries DNS entry subdomains, and then see where are they landing, right? Like are they hosted on your approved like CDNs, or they are like landing in a random CDNs. And that can be a good signal to like look further. Would be like say okay, they are in the lovable, they are in lengthy fee that were not approved by your org. So that would be where I would start. And like Cloudflare kind of host like give you even the who created those entries for immediately like kind of creating a like if you want to have like incident around that, you can even use those as well. Yeah, following like as I mentioned, like following the DNS entries, right? Like there some of the cases I've seen is like it's not only one level CNAME resolution, it's recursively like multi levels, basically from your app to your CDN, from your CDN to the app, or like even that another CDN to the app. So there are like multi steps follow chain all the way along. Yeah, this is like how to use the dig to like look through this, like the dig command. Any of you use your crt.sh to like monitor your like certificates? Crt.sh is a kind of a public transparency. Like that's a one of the good source for it. It's a free. You can monitor like the certificates issued for your domain. So that's one of the signals I would use like to monitor like certificate issued for my domains, or like any subdomains as well. So that kind of use it to like say like any public certs issued for your domain, and kind of that can also like tie to like anything enterprise apps built for it, like that are unsanctioned. Within the cert as well, look for like SAN list. So if you take a look here, like so standard your org would have like only your orgs like in the subdomains in the SAN field. But when these certs were like generated by an app like app builder, they usually have multiple companies. They generate like bulk certs for one cert for like with like multiple companies applications. So that's one of the like usually have 30 40ish like say SAN fields there. So that's one of the like good signals to use. And usually these are like DV certs with 90-day validity. Like if an org like say you always use like a year certificate, like it's a pain and you don't want certificate to expire, right? But so that's the standard practice, almost a year old, say like use from the DigiCert or like well-known vendors. Like and but here like always these app builders use the free cert 90 days from like Let's Encrypt or like say Google Trust or like the Zero SSL, and they always have like 90 days, and the DV only, they never will have the OV or the EV certs. So that's some of the things. Like, but the DV certs are common in your enterprise now for even your front facing, like the sanctioned apps. So that is not a strong signal. But if you are a regulated industry, so like a fintech or like financial companies or like say other some of them, like you need to have a EV cert where like your organization is validated and your subject would have like the org. And if you see a DV, it's definitely like issued by like a app builder. And these apps builders usually like kind of have automated certs. What they do is like they follow, like they don't wait for like cert to near expiry. They kind of keep on bulk like retrieving these to avoid any like expiry. So if you have like 5 or 6 apps that were like built by the app builders, you would see a bulk of like certificate like renewals, like 6 or 7 in a minute when they are like renewing the cert for their maybe fleet of the apps. So you would see like all of a sudden, like, okay, you are 6 or 7 certs issued for your org, like those alerts popping, like those are like kind of easily to like, oh, these are apps maintained by some app builder. Another angle to detect is like using the hosting or like say HTTP headers. So like uh, these apps have like very like they're built by the builders and they don't customize the error pages. So they have like the standard practice, like the text or like say the CSS like classes, everything looks the same. So you can use those as well to, they're like well-known published patterns that you can use for detection. And also they have like default routing, like how the apps get routed. And they do have like some of the well-known static asset conventions as well. I'll show some of the headers that can be easily detect these things in the next slide. If you take a look here, like some of the headers that you like served by like that gives an idea like where is it hosted. Similarly, Vercel has similar ones. Netleafy has similar ones. They do have like additional headers that show like where is this hosted. And one of these like the like 404, you will see like this exact 404 if that's what built by those applications. And there are more as well. A differentiators like say here the 404 is like this, but there are specific Acme. The 404 is like a different page. So these are like well known, like you can detect how this behaves for various paths, like well known paths, like you can put like not reachable path and like specifically Acme, because these do have like a, a well-known path, and for Acme challenges they have to behave differently. So those are like some of like easy to detect. And each platform has those like some of the well-published like detections, so we can use to detect those as well. You want to call out like these, there is a high, false positives, because like as the app building become from these platform becoming mainline, so these maybe some of these may be sanctioned apps as well. But the use like all of these kind of like one DNS may not be good enough. Like you need to like like certificate transparency you need to monitor, and like HTTP headers, all these you may need to combine to like get a high confidence signal. But another like ways like anomalies, like say you always your only sanctioned is Cloudflare for CDN, and you see a one random Netleafy, those are a very strong signals. Like anomalies can like be like you can use like with the LLM calls now, anomalies can be easily detected. Like you can have like, okay, my these are my DNS, is there an anomaly, like that would be like easiest way to detect like some of these things. Out next I'll go on like how to mitigate like on a like basically like detection is good, like we need to find out things, right? But like it's already we are uh, like lost race basically, like if there is bad got out, so it's already lost. So kind of how to shift left or like the guardrails against this, so that would be like next I'm going to talk on. Any questions till now? Yeah, I think I'm going to cover some part of it, but I think the you're kind of detecting it early or kind of making it does not happen there. But I think I can revisit end of that. Like if you detect what can we do, I can we can revisit that. So like the two angles to it, right? Like you want to detect, one is, but like making somebody to follow this path harder basically. One is they don't follow this path if it's like would be one approach to it. So lock down the DNS creation, right? If people can create DNS easily, so they would kind of create apps and kind of create like CNAME from your like deep domain. So that would be the first path. So kind of hardening it, like making sure who can create the DNS records for your org. And like if there are applications like Cloudflare where people can create subdomains, like don't give the access or like control the who can create, or have audit logs continuously monitored. So that would be one of making the path harder. And publishing the CAA records, like if you DigiCert is your, say, take an example, DigiCert is your cert authority. Publishing a CAA saying DigiCert is my cert authority, don't issue certificate from anywhere else. So in that case, let's encrypt sees those record for your domain, or like Google Trust sees those record, or the Zero SSL sees those. Like most of the well-known certificate authorities would honor that, and they will not issue certificates for your. So it breaks the path for anybody trying to deploy an application for your domain. Similarly, like having like your OAuth or IDP grants not to allow access to these, that would be another angle to like stop at the beginning, or making it harder for people to sign up and start there. And another angle too is like make it harder, but give a like well guardrail path so people who want to do it can do it safely. So like there are hundreds of apps, right? If people, we app builders are like, if they are popping up every day, and like there is a lot of money people are pouring, there is like a lot of VCs funding it. So there are every day there are new app builders coming up for very small use cases. So we can't like go and build like best practices and everything. So best idea would be to like take a use case, like your marketing want to build apps fast, deploy, take one app and kind of like define like this is the lovable is my platform, or Replit is my platform to build these things, define it and how to do it safe for them. So that would be one of like kind of how, what is your CDN, what is your WAF, all those things, how they can deploy safely. They have to check in the code. They can't just like from to deploy does not happen. They have to how they can create a GitHub repo or whatever the like your source code manager is, how they can get those in. So that would be the kind of path for like making sure people follow the guardrails. Like the DNS creations, right? Like they should be creating in your like standard DNS, not where somewhere you don't control. So follow those paths as well, how they can create like you reach the IT gives you the cert, and they will have like right certs for you, not like you go to the app builders, they will issue certs so that you don't control. And have like pre-approved templates, right? Like for these, like you can't have like for the developer, like if you have Claude, there are like various ways you can have like secure, like there are agents, there are various ways you can build secure code. But for these are like from to code and deploy. There are very limited calibrations you can do, but these mostly go by the from. So have like starter from packs for your non-developers, and like other ways like have them educate and like how to use them, like maybe 10 minutes onboarding for these platforms. So those will help. I do have an example of like uh, a starter from pack, like say five phase ones. Okay, not here. You're basically dividing like first make the from to like your requirements would be analyzed. Is it secure? If say somebody puts in a requirement, they say like authentication is not mentioned, right? Let the build, like app builder take a look at it and like come back to say like, oh, this is not approved, or like it can take a call like, is does it meet the enterprise risk appetite, or like the whoever is requesting it should reach out to security team. So clearly call that out, so they can take the requirement and they will put it here in the placeholder, and they will embed that like whole prompt within that platform. So it will give them like self-serve, no need to like wait for security team to look at these things, and they can work on it faster. So some of these things will help to onboard. Yeah, that's the. Any questions on the guardrails? Um, as in like I have seen this successful. Like I was part of one of the cohort where we built kind of non AI secure, like the non-developers kind of thing that we have kind of evaluated some of the like prompt pack and other things. It's been like has some success. Overall, as a framework, I'm still working on this. Kind of the some of the things like detection is yes. The kind of building the paths from the guardrails, I'm still like it's partially done. This is kind of the path I would say like kind of take us to the success. Just to coming back to your question, right? Like when we detect something, what to do, right? I think many cases, like if it's really bad, you'll have to take it down. Like somebody, like say it's a marketing app, so you'll have to go to the marketing team, say like this is not good, take it down. So you'll have to take the call based on the risk, basically how bad it is, right? So like if it's something that you think risk in the future, so you have time, you detect it today, it's not bad, you scan it like your dash or whatever you do, like take a look at that, it's really not that bad. And then you kind of internally figure out like, okay, go to the marketing team or like whoever is like deployed, kind of figure it. Then you can go to the DNS as well. So DNS usually have somebody would have issued it. So you can figure from the IT, you can say like who issued this DNS first record, and then like you can figure from that out as well, the backend. Like detecting early is the key here. Like instead of like when you there is an incident happened and we are trying to figure out, that's usually already a game lost. So any other questions? Yeah, the key takeaway is like the detect, kind of like monitor your DNS and your certificate logs, and like if you detect something in there that you did not detect before, the new apps, kind of like then kind of fingerprint those apps to see if they match it to any of the well-known applications, app builder, the platform. As a prevention, like lock your DNS who can create DNS, and like publish the CA records so that the CAs honor it and don't issue certificate for your domains. And like uh, have like I think MS is the SSPM, kind of extend it to like detect anybody signing up, and like increase that with like even blocking the enhancing your IDP so that like OAuth grants the builder people can't sign up for those as well with the, like other OIDC, not only email like GitHub or any other like OAuth, they can't like onboard these. And like the next would be like kind of make sure people have alternative to like uh, have a safe path to go ahead, like say a sanctioned platform as we discussed, and like make sure like the DNS people can request faster, or the certificates internal ones they can request faster, so that would kind of enable for a success. That's all I had today. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here, I can take now, or I can like even stop by. You have any question? Appreciate it. Thank you. I, yeah, I think there are few companies that are doing it. I've seen them like, but they go by like wild detection. Like they usually go by the HTTP headers, not by other way around. Then they will have to like find within that. The SERT2 mapping is not. I haven't seen anything. It's but like you monitoring a certificate and DNS domain is already like we do it for our org, but we don't go and like say is it sanctioned or where is it coming from. That part we are not focusing on right now. We just say, okay, there is a new app came in, we just okay, that's like we just do those, or the cert, okay, there is a new certificate issued. Most like us monitor the crt.sh for new certs, right? So but we don't go and like poke around and see like kind of the various signals, so that's the gap actually. Yeah, that there will some services definitely going to come up, but I don't think that's needed. People can just very like do it their own. That's what I feel. You have more control. Yeah, I'm like more towards build versus like build than buy. Any other questions? Thank you.